we had a battery missing, and we take inventory every day, and we then go to Bobby and ask him, Bob, where's the battery? I got a invoice I've got to get to you, Mom, but I've just been so busy that I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to. I really will. And so then I find out after the fact that he had been going and jump-starting these elderly people's vehicle so that they could come into town to do all their errands in the afternoon. And he was doing it for 2 to 3 years that I can figure out.
You're taking a chance. If you can't slow down and move over just a little bit, you're taking a chance of one of these first responders getting hurt.
You know, put yourself in our position. Would you want, if your car went flat and you had to change your own tire, would you want people driving right next to you?
Linda said that she would get this passed. She done it in a record amount of time.
So my attorney had informed me that we, as tow truck operators, were not first responders and that we weren't protected on the highway from being hit. And so I said, that can't be. I said, that just can't be. You need to look into it. He said, I have. And I said, okay. I said, we're in the middle of legislature right now. And I said, I got this. I just went into, no, we're going to do something, and we're going to do it good, and we're going to do it fast. I decided that I was going to start calling politicians, and I was going to promote awareness for us in New Mexico, for all towers.
This is my family, each and every one of them. So I have to worry about them every time that phone rings and I send them out on a call. I have to worry about whether they're going to be safe.
The first words he told me when I was here, hooking ain't easy. And that's exactly how it is. It's not easy. It's a very dangerous job, and you don't realize how dangerous it is until you go out there and do it.
Those extra few seconds that it would take you to slow down or move over, those few seconds can change lives. They can destroy people's lives.
Bobby did have 3 children. He was a single dad. He was fabulous. He was one-on-one with them. He actually loved teaching and allowing his kids to know his line of work, and he shared that by taking them on lockouts and tows, and all his children do is talk about what Daddy taught him. And it's this industry. And you know, at the end of the day, we have our industry is about family. Bobby's personality and his loving kindness ways about him was warm, joking. Loved to joke with the drivers.
Bobby was a really good guy, great father, great friend. I've known him for about 9 years. He was a great guy. He'd, do anything for anybody. He'd give you the shirt off his back.
That day, I was out of town, and I had gone to go see my family. We come from a big family, and I had called him like I always do. I'd always call him, even if I was on dispatch. I would always check on him like I do all the other boys. I check on them all.
I got dispatched out to pick up a disabled semi, commercial vehicle, and he had threw his driveline out. And when I got on scene, I noticed it had punctured a hole in the fuel tank. So I called back to dispatch and told him it was leaking fuel, and we needed a cleanup crew to come out and clean up the diesel.
So I sent Chad, our heavy tow truck driver, out to hook up to it. Well, he got out there and he called me and told me there's diesel on the ground, which I knew he needed a cleanup crew. So I called down here. Most of the guys were busy, and so I told Bobby, I said, Bobby, can you go out, floor dry and clean this mess up? Absolutely, he said, and I'll take Zach.
That particular day, I was in Ruidoso, New Mexico, and called on him, and I said, hey, kid, what's going on? And he had the most beautiful energy about him that I have never experienced over the telephone. And I said, what's going on with you today? He says, Mom, I got a job to do. I'm going out to do a heavy. And I said, a heavy? I said, you never do that. He said, well, let me say, I'm going out to do a cleanup. We have a big oil spill, and Chad's out there. So, and then I said, oh, okay. So he said, but I have a trainee on board. And I said, oh, you do? And his energy was so excited. And I said, which trainee do you have on board? And he says, well, first of all, before I say that, I'm on speakerphone, Mom, so, watch what you're going to say, okay? And I said, okay, I can do that. So he said, it's Zach. He said, I'm going to show Zach how to do this and make sure that he doesn't get hurt. And he was one of the new employees. And I'm out here because I'm going to make sure nobody gets hurt on my watch, Mom. And I said, okay. So I said, can you guys listen to me for a second? And Bobby says, yeah, what's going on? He said, I only got a few minutes because we're here. And I said, okay. I said, listen for the rumble strips. Please, you boys, can you look out for each other? And Bobby says, Mom, you have to know that nobody's going to get hurt today on my watch, okay? You don't have no worries here.
We're in there for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then I get a call to do a fuel delivery a few miles ahead from where we're at. And Bob decided to stay and help Chad out, any way he could.
My son was directing traffic to keep Chad safe, and Chad was taking out airlines out of the tow truck toolbox, and my son was behind that toolbox directing traffic over, which I understand that most of them were going over until this one particular truck just would not move. And by the time he had any time left, he yelled out at Chad.
He was flagging traffic for that call whenever he noticed that a semi was failing to move over. One of the newer employees was hooking up on the inside of the lane, and they were really close to the guardrail. And so he noticed that the semi was failing to move over.
So I was under the semi, crawled out, walked over to my wrecker to grab the airlines and the light cord so I could get this truck off the side of the road. And I opened the toolbox, and I hear Bobby yell, "Look out!" And I turn around and look, and I see a semi veering towards us.
He ran toward the other employee because he knew that he was going to get hit. And so he ran toward the other employee. As he ran by, he called out a warning. He ran by and he pushed the other employee into a toolbox.
My son instinctively ran to save Chad's life, and then really, truly in his mind knew that he could beat it.
Leaned back as far as I could in the toolbox, and as I'm turning around, I seen Bobby go running towards the front of my wrecker, and not even seconds after that, there was the semi, and it hit the door that was on my toolbox that was open and missed me by 6 inches. And as soon as the truck and trailer, as soon as the trailer passed me, I went running to the front of the truck to check on Bobby, see if he made it.
Chad calls me and tells me that Bob just got struck by a truck. And the way we used to give each other a hard time, I figured they were just bullshitting me. And, I sat there saying, oh, yeah, right, shut up, this ain't, don't mess with me like that. And I was expecting to hear Bob's laughter or something in the background, how it always was. And he told me about 3 times, and it finally clicked. And I was like, I'll be right there. I'm not even a full mile away. And pulled up on the frontage road and ran up the hill, jumped the guardrail, and I was right on top of Bob. And so, I went down and checked out Bob and everything. And
supposedly his pant leg was caught on the bumper of the truck that hit him, pushed him, put him airborne, and hit the mirror of the truck. And then what happened was he came down and landed on pavement, and all the tires of the truck ran over him.
And, if Bobby wouldn't have been there, it would have been me.
My dispatcher, Judy, called, and she says, "Boss," and she was very nonchalant. I thought that she had a problem with a mechanical problem.
My mom called and she said, "Chanee, now I have to tell you something." And I said, "Okay." And when she says that, I automatically know there's a problem. And so she said, "I have to tell you something." I said, "Okay." She said, "Your brother's been hit by a truck." And I said, "Okay, but he's alive, right?" And she says, "Yeah. As far as we know, we don't have a lot of information."
I got the call again, and it was from Judy, and she says, "Boss," she says, "it's Bobby, and he's hurt." And I said, "Okay." I said, "You just breathe, and we're going to get this, Judy." She says, "I'm here at the hospital waiting on him, and I'm waiting, and he's still not here." And I said, "Does anybody know anything out there?" And she says, "All we know is that they're waiting on him. The helicopter's outside and it's on, so we know that he's at least alive."
A half hour passed with no information, and I had called my dad and I told him what was going on, and I told him, Bobby is not at the emergency room yet, and so if he's not here yet, it's probably not a good sign.
Probably 10 minutes later, she called me back and she said, "Boss, I'm so sorry," she said. "He's gone." And I said, "Who's gone?" "Well, Bobby." And I said, "That can't be."
We had experiences in the past where they have left people that have passed away on the road. They've left them out there for hours. In 12 hours. Left him out there. And so I said, "They're not leaving my brother out there." So my husband drove me, and then the girls drove us to Tucumcari, and I told Judy, our dispatcher, I said, "Judy, if he's still on the road when I get there, there's going to be problems." And I got here, and just as I pulled into town, she said, "Chanee, they picked him up." I said, "Okay, so I didn't have to deal with that, thankfully, because if I had, I probably would have been arrested, to be honest with you."
She says, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm still in Rio Doso." And I said, "Do I need to catch this plane out of here?" She said, "It doesn't do you any good. You just need to come home." My moment then was, I kind of got some quiet time, and I sat there and I talked to God, and I just said, "You know what, Lord, if this is your will, I will stay strong, and I'll keep your faith, and I'll keep my faith, and we will go forward."
And my feeling whenever I found out that he had passed away was that I was all alone. I think you picture getting old with your siblings. You recognize that your parents will pass away, but you picture growing old with your siblings. And my brother was my older brother, but I always took care of him. If you had met him, you would probably understand that. But I always pictured growing old and making sure he was okay, and so it was just this extreme loneliness.
Whatever this is, I don't really know because I'm not there, but just carry me home and carry me home back to my son and his boys. And it was a 5 hours from home is where I was.
She told me she was glad that I was still here. I got a wife and 4 kids I got to take care of, and it wasn't my time. God needed Bobby for something, so he's in a better place than I'll ever be. So
the spirit ride means to me is that it represents all our fallen towers, and that includes my son. And I believe that the awareness of the spirit ride is going to connect, and it's going to connect through our nation. and through our industry. And we're going to have people that have the same hope I have and take on the same journey that I have, because it's not going to go unforgotten. It's not going to be forgotten. We can't allow it to be forgotten. And not just because I've lost my son, but this is truly an epidemic that needs to be either slowed down. And for me, I'm hoping that it's not taken another first responder, another tow truck driver. You know, when you think that you're in shock, or you think it's not real, or you think maybe this was a mistake, well, you have all those things that happen to you until you get closer to home. And then you have people that love you and care about you, and your employees, and you're getting calls into, boss, where are you? Can you stay on the phone with us until you get home? And I'll say, yes, I can. Are you okay? I said, I'm okay. I said, we have to stick together. The most important thing for me and for us is to stay together and to work together and to stay close. And where's your families? And they said, they're all here with us. And I said, keep them close. And just remember that you tell them, we have to learn from this, that you tell them every day, every second if you can, that you love them. And I'll be there, and when I get there, we'll decide what we're going to do, okay? As close as towing companies are, because we spend more time with each other in this industry because we're 24/7. And 24/7, sometimes we don't go to bed till 24, 48 hours. And that's why we get so compassionate about life. And because within seconds it's gone. I have a passion for towing. I have a passion for the people. And I believe that when you have such a passion that lives within inside you, I think that you can carry on with strength, and you can carry on with hope, and you can carry on with knowing that you can make a difference. I can make a difference, and I know that that's my challenge, and that's my direction, and that's my journey.